In the small town of Umuahia, where the sun kissed the red earth and the nights were quiet, there was a prestigious girls' school called Blessed Redeemer College. It was a school where strict rules were followed, and girls wore brown skirts with white shirts, always buttoned to the neck. But behind the walls of this school, secrets brewed like hot tea on a cold morning. Among the girls was Chisom Uwokori, a tall, dark-skinned beauty with dimples that could melt a stone heart. Chisom was not just beautiful, she was smart, confident, and had a voice that sounded like soft music. Most girls admired her, but some feared her because there was something about her eyes, sharp, deep, and always watching. Chisom had a special way of talking, like she could make anyone believe whatever she said. If she told you the sun was cold, you might find yourself nodding in agreement without knowing why. Her closest friends were Amaka, a shy girl from Anambra who always carried a Bible under her armpit, and Bola, a Yoruba girl with light skin and a sharp tongue. The three girls were inseparable, but Chisom was the one who always led the conversation. One evening, after night prep, the girls gathered in the dormitory. The moonlight poured through the broken window, casting soft shadows on the walls. "Do you know love can happen between two girls?" Chisom's voice broke the silence. Amaka's eyes widened. "God forbid," she whispered, clutching her Bible tighter. Bola chuckled. "Chisom, you end your stories." But Chisom's eyes locked onto Amaka's. "Love is love, whether between a boy and a girl, or two girls. It's about connection, feeling something special." Her voice was like honey, sweet, slow, and dangerous. That night, long after the other girls had fallen asleep, Amaka found herself thinking about Chisom's words. Something about the way Chisom spoke made it sound so natural, so harmless. Days passed, and little by little, Chisom's influence grew. She always knew the right things to say, how to make a girl feel special without even touching her. It started with innocent compliments. "Amaka, your skin is like chocolate. I feel like tasting it." "Bola, your lips are so pink. Do you know some girls would die to have lips like yours?" At first, they laughed it off. But the more they held it, the more their minds began to wander. One cold Saturday night, under the soft yellow light of the hostel corridor, Chisom's voice whispered again. "Love is not a crime, even if it's between two girls." Her words were like a spell, and slowly, the girls began to listen. Would Amaka and Bola fall into Chisom's web? What secret desires were hiding behind those innocent school uniforms? The nights in Blessed Redeemer College became longer, and the air carried a strange kind of heat. Chisom's voice echoed in the hearts of Amaka and Bola, like a soft song that refused to leave their ears. It started with little games. "Let's play truth or dare," Chisom whispered one Friday night when the hostel was quiet. Amaka shifted on her bed, clutching her Bible. "I don't like that kind of game." Chisom smiled, her dimples showing. "It's just for fun, N.A. Or are you afraid?" Amaka hated being called a coward. Slowly, she dropped her Bible and joined them on the floor. The moonlight slipping through the window gave the room a soft glow. Chisom's eyes sparkled. "Amaka, truth or dare?" Amaka's heart beat faster. She looked at Bola, hoping her friend would say something, but Bola's face was calm, almost curious. "Truth," Amaka whispered. Chisom leaned closer. Her voice was low, like a secret only meant for Amaka's ears. "Have you ever imagined what it feels like to kiss another girl?" Amaka's eyes widened. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. "Chisom," Bola hissed, breaking the silence. What kind of nonsense question is that? But Chisom only smiled, her eyes still locked on Amaka. It's just a game, or are you afraid to answer? Amaka's heart pounded. She wanted to shout God forbid. She wanted to grab her Bible and run to her bed, but something held her down. No, she whispered. I've never imagined it. Chisom's smile grew wider. You should. It's not a sin to imagine. That night, Amaka couldn't sleep. Her mind played tricks on her, replaying Chisom's voice over and over. It's not a sin to imagine. As the weeks passed, Chisom's games continued. She made everything feel like innocent fun. Little jockeys, soft touches, long stars that lingered longer than they should. One rainy afternoon, while most girls were at the dining hall, Chisom found Amaka alone in the hostel. Your lips are so soft, Amaka, she whispered, her fingers brushing Amaka's chin. Have you ever wondered what it feels like for someone to kiss them? Amaka froze. The Bible in her hand suddenly felt heavy. Her heart slammed against her chest, but she couldn't move. Chisom's face was close, too close. Chisom, stop. This is wrong. Amaka's voice was shaky. But Chisom only smiled, her eyes half closed. If it's wrong, why does your heart beat like this? Amaka's breathing quickened. Her knees felt weak, and her mind was a storm of confusion. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and Bola walked in. Her eyes widened as she saw them, Chisom's hand still resting under Amaka's chin. What's going on here? Bola's voice was sharp. Chisom turned slowly, her smile never fading. We were just talking, nothing serious. But Bola's eyes narrowed. She had seen enough. That night, Bola couldn't sleep. The image of Chisom and Amaka played in her mind. Something inside her stirred, something she couldn't explain. By the next morning, Bola's heart had started asking dangerous questions. What if Chisom was right? What if love between two girls wasn't so wrong? The hostel became a playground of whispers. Girls began to notice how Chisom's eyes followed Amaka in the corridor, how she brushed her fingers against Bola's hand during prep, how her voice made the air feel hotter whenever she spoke. Chisom had a gift, a dark, powerful gift. She knew how to break the walls girls built around their minds, how to plant tiny seeds of curiosity, and watch them grow. By the third week, something had shifted in Amaka. The Bible under her armpit didn't feel as holy as before. Her prayers became shorter, her dreams became darker. One night, under the same moonlight that had started it all, Chisom leaned close to Amaka's ear. Do you know the first kiss doesn't count as a sin if your heart doesn't feel guilty? Amaka's breath caught in her throat. Let me show you, Chisom whispered. The room was silent. The moon watched. The night held its breath. The night hung heavy over Blessed Redeemer College, wrapping the hostel in a thick silence. Only the soft rustling of leaves outside filled the air, but inside, hearts were racing. Amaka's lips trembled as Chisom's warm breath touched her skin. The room felt smaller, darker, as if the walls themselves were watching. But just before Chisom's lips could touch hers, Amaka flinched and pulled back. No, Chisom, stop. Her voice cracked. Chisom's smile faded, but her eyes stayed sharp. For the first time, there was something cold behind them. You're still afraid, Chisom whispered. Afraid of something that feels natural. Amaka's chest rose and fell, her heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears. She grabbed her Bible from the bed and clutched it tight, as if the small book could protect her from the storm swirling inside her. I'm not afraid. I just know this is wrong. Chisom's eyes narrowed. Without another word, she stood up and walked back to her bed, her face calm, but something dark flickered beneath her smile. The next morning, everything changed. Amaka tried to act normal, but guilt clung to her like sweat. She couldn't pray, couldn't even look at Bola. By the second week, the guilt began to eat her alive. She stopped attending morning fellowship. Her Bible stayed buried at the bottom of her locker. The once shy, quiet girl became withdrawn, lost in a world of confusion and shame. Bola noticed it all, but she said nothing. Chisom, on the other hand, acted like nothing had happened. Her laughter echoed through the hostel, and her eyes still danced from girl to girl, hunting, searching. But the games didn't stop. Late at night, whispers crept through the dormitory. Some girls said they saw Chisom sneaking into Bola's bed when the lights were out. Others claimed they heard strange, muffled sounds behind the bathroom doors. What started as innocent conversations had turned into something darker, something that spread like poison through the girls in the hostel. Then came the disaster. One cold wet morning, the school woke up to screams. It was Bola. The matron found her curled up in the bathroom, shaking and crying, her uniform soaked in blood. She had tried to hurt herself with a broken glass bottle, her fragile mind pushed to the edge by the secrets she carried. Whispers flew like wildfire. Rumors spread that Chisom had lured Bola into her web, playing with her heart, then tossing her aside like a broken toy. By afternoon, the school principal summoned all the girls for an emergency assembly. "We have heard disturbing reports," his deep voice echoed through the hall. "This school is built on the foundation of God. Any form of immoral behavior will not be tolerated." Nobody mentioned names, but everyone knew who the principal was talking about. Chisom sat in the front row, calm, her face blank. Amaka sat behind her, biting her nails, her heart thudding against her ribs. By evening, the school was crawling with rumors. Parents were called, girls were questioned. Secrets that had been buried under the moonlight began to unravel. Chisom was the first to confess. She stood before the principal's office, her hands shaking, but her eyes still holding that strange fire. "They wanted it too," she whispered. But the principal's cold glare cut her short. Chisom was sent packing that same night, her suitcase dragged through the hostel corridor like a coffin. Bola was rushed to the hospital, her fragile mind shattered beyond repair. Amaka carried the scars in silence. Even after Chisom was gone, her whispers stayed behind, haunting her dreams, wrapping around her heart like a dark chain. She prayed every night, but the guilt never left. It was then she realized, curiosity can open doors that should never be opened. The things that start as whispers can grow into storms that destroy lives. In a world where temptation hides behind sweet words, not everything that feels right is truly right. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notifications.